do something just like you want to do something. I'm no different than you. I just decided to leave base camp and start to ascend to the top of the mountain. The same thing you got to do. You know, it talks about here, if you take your eye off the summit, you're bound to drift. And the one thing that I try to work with our hierarchy about, the one thing that I think that by the grace of God, I've got, maybe they say your greatest strength is also your greatest weakness. I have the ability to focus, okay? Sometimes that's not always good because I'm kind of single-minded of purpose, and sometimes that's not always good, okay? I think I've learned over my lifetime to maybe become a little bit more able to multitask, and I've surrounded myself with great people that are better than me in most things I can't do, and I don't try to do things I can't do, okay? I try to identify the things I'm pretty good at, and I work my fanny off of that thing, you know? But I think once you take your eye off the summit, and there's a lot of things that take you off the summit, and what you got to be good at is not letting other people, once again, the mountain's not going to beat you. I promise it's going to be somebody else. It's going to be something else. It's going to be a storm blowing in. And let me help you out. Anytime you climb to a high level, there's going to be storms. But it's not the severity of the storm. It's not the duration of the storm. It's how you're going to handle the storm. What's your mind? So when the storm blows in, the way I've learned, the way I've been trained is, when the storm blows in, yeah, you can get it inside your chin, you hunker down, but your mind's still climbing. And I see people do that a lot of times in Primerica. So things go wrong, people quit, people get a chargeback. Y'all have chargebacks over here? Okay, good. But we try to do with them instead of tax, okay? But when you have a chargeback or something goes wrong, it's almost like we start going back down the mountain. In the storm, here's what I learned about in my biblical life, that these things too shall pass, but you can't pass. That's the most important thing. You ain't got to be that good in Primerica. You just got to be tough. You ain't got to be that smart. You ain't got to be that good. You just got to be tough. You don't have to worry about, this ain't about being comfortable. This is about staying alive. Does that make sense to you? Yeah?
Yes. Yes.
We'll make sure, okay? Another thing I learned a long time ago, I'm a nutcase on goal setting. And one of the things you need to do is you need to take a snapshot, a picture, a photo. They say climb the mountain. What you do is you take a snapshot or a photo of the mountain from an aerial view. What it's going to look like from the top, as if you've already arrived. And you carry that with you all the time for two reasons. Remind you why you're making the climb, and then when the storm blows in, and you're in your tent, you're hunkered down, things aren't going good, you look at that picture, you look at that photo and say, that's why I'm climbing that mountain, that's why I'm going to stay at, that's why when this storm blows over, I'm going to be right back at it, I'm going to be marching back up this mountain. You're not going back down. The second reason you do it is so when you start building your team, this is critical. When you start building your team, and I'm blessed, I'm honored by having some of my guys here today, and they bought into this picture that I've tried to show them over the years. We bought into the picture, aren't we? So now we're buying into the picture. A higher summit that John Addison's saying, hey, here's a big picture. Here's where we're going. And see, one of the things in that, and the sermon that Hillary told where he said, you can't grow anymore. Well, I'm not convinced that the mountain didn't just grow. Because as big as we wanted to get, as much as we thought we wanted to accomplish, the challenge has just gotten bigger. And we can't pray and hope that the challenge is going to be smaller. We got to pray and hope that we're going to be bigger. It's not the size of the mountain. It's us. It's not, T.R. Becker says, people don't have big problems. They're just small. It's just small people. We've got to grow as people. We got to grow as climbers. We got to grow in our intent. And when you put up a photo, tell people this is where I'm going. And they see where you're going. If it's a big mountain, I'm telling you, they just beat your door down and be on your team. That's the kind of leader you got to be. You got to leave here today thinking, okay, I'm going to do something audacious. I'm going to do something bold. I'm not going to let anybody doubt me, question me, get in my face. You know, why would you give anybody permission to doubt or question what you're going to try to accomplish? It's your mountain. It's not their mountain. It's your mountain. But it's got to be a big enough mountain to solicit all the people. Say, man, I want to go there with you. Here's a point I learned in building a business, same thing mountain climbing. You don't climb a big mountain by yourself. All your big mountains require, anytime you have an ultimate mountaintop, you got an ultimate team. And when you see the organizations in Primerica that have success, they all have big teams. Because they have big goals. They want to do something special. A little molehill doesn't require much of a team. But a big mountain, a big summit, you got to have a team there. And what happens when you get to the top of that mountain, you realize you got there with your team. You celebrate with your team. You're happy. You're pumped with your team. And it's a much greater celebration if you ever climb by yourself. Another thing that I learned in his book, it says, the mountain don't give a damn about your resume. See, the mountain don't care what you've done in the past. That's what I love about Primerica. I hear a lot of people say, well, you know, I ran this place, You're only as good as your last game. That's what I loved about sports. That's what I love about Primerica. Primerica don't care if they pay me all this money all these years. Primerica don't care if I built this big business. So that mountain don't care if I climbed a 1 or 2, 3 times. It don't care if I climbed a higher mountain than that. The mountain says, come get me. If you're good enough, come get me.